What's up, everybody coming in? We got Martin T. What are we doing here? Uploading a YouTube video? Yeah. What's up, dude? How we doing? Uploading a live stream from the other day, which I guess this will turn into a live stream as well that I'll upload to YouTube if everything wants to load. Mosaic for basketball or for football? Because basketball, it's kind of blown up over the past, since quarantine started, which is interesting. I'm not exactly sure why. I'm thinking it's because you can buy it, and that's why it's gotten so popular. We got UK Card Collector in the building. What's up? Yeah, I think it's honestly gotten so popular just basically because you can buy it. And I don't think because it was a Prism brand, which I almost feel like in some scenarios should have made the product more popular to begin with from a standpoint where the Prism brand itself is, it's the most popular brand of any basketball product for the most part. What's up, TS? How we doing? So the fact that it dropped, Tom's in the building. What's up, Tom? The fact that it dropped the Prism branding and became more popular kind of goes against my theory that branding in sports cards matters, but it may also, the branding aspect of the concept theory sort of thing that I have. No. Also, Tom, no. Chelsea's gonna. What time is it? Has the game started? Game hasn't started yet, so maybe I'll pull that up on the computer. I don't know, whatever. But maybe the concept that I'm talking about with the branding is more for older cards, where the older cards are more popular because of the brand. So that would be like 90s basketball stuff. So like 90s basketball, like Topps would be more popular than like, I don't know. I can't think of the brands off the top of my head. I could go look at it, but I think in general, I think that's one thing that when I'm buying 90s cards or cards from the 2000s, I'm more willing to buy the Topps over almost any other brand just for the simple fact that it's still a thing, that it's still around. But the Prism branding was dropped from this year's Mosaic, but it became more popular. But I don't. Mosaic is fairly new. I think it debuted in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, and 20. But then this year, but it was only online exclusive. So that was another reason why maybe people just didn't buy it because they didn't want to. But I just think the fact that like basketball cards have gotten pretty hard to find in stores. So like anytime someone can find them or get them, that's one reason why certain brands take off. Where like I do think this year the growth of Mosaic over Select has happened, where Select has gotten marginally larger, but Mosaic has like exploded basically. Going back to Nikki cards, hey man, the price for products is so insane that it doesn't make any sense to break anymore and just invest. Yeah, pricing of breaks are kind of always been like a gamble in a way, where it's just opening packs in general, and that's kind of how I've always looked at it. Breaks and opening cards and opening packs has always kind of been just, you're gambling essentially that you think that that you're going to get your money back, basically. And from my experience, that doesn't necessarily happen every single time, but it is. I wouldn't say it's more common, but it does happen, I would say, for sure. Where, getting 50% of your value back, I think, is worth opening a box of cards where you could get 10x your value. Like, for example, I bought a box of 2019 Series 2 last year, and the hit out of it was a 1-of-1 Alex Bregman patch. So, like, for me, that card it tripled what I paid for the box, which granted, if you're trying to buy, I bought the box for $55 on release day last year, which Even prices of baseball boxes have gone up. Like a Series 1 box, I went into my local card shop, and that was $95. So, like, that's kind of where even baseball boxes have gotten pretty crazy. So, yeah, you're right about that. Do you think the basketball rush is going right now into the pricing of NFL, Joe Burrow, and Tua? I think the interesting thing about Joe Burrow and Tua is that if you're buying their college stuff, I think that's an interesting area, maybe, I guess you could one way to put it. Because, like, I think the college market this year has some pretty big name schools. So you've got, like, Alabama, you've got LSU, like, and the fact that Joe Burrow at LSU won the national championship was that it was, I think, it sounds strange, but I think his season was almost underrated in the sense that, like, that was, like, the best college football season a quarterback has essentially almost ever had. Like, it was ridiculous. So, like, the fact that is a thing, like, I feel like LSU cards for Joe Burrow, even if he doesn't pan out, I still think you're going to see value in the Joe Burrow cards because of the fan base of LSU. Same with Tua. Like, Tua he won a national championship. I think he may have won 2 national championships. I forget. But either way, so the Alabama fan base, I think, is going to make sure those college cards hold value, even if they don't necessarily pan out as much into their pro cards, I guess, if that makes sense. Both around $800. Which one are you taking strictly for the bubble, Tatum or Zion? I would be taking Tatum because I think out of all the teams, and this is coming from a Celtics, I'm from Boston, so this is coming from a Celtics fan here. So the Tatum right now is probably a top 20 player in the league, but he was playing before the shutdown, like a top, like he's probably the 5th. I would say I bet you he'll get some MVP votes this year. So, like, from that standpoint, I think Tatum is going to impact the Celtics more than Zion will impact the Pelicans, because the Pelicans are still sort of fighting for a playoff spot, so they're not guaranteed. Now, I would say in the Eastern Conference, it's probably going to be or I think it could be Bucks Celtics depending on seeding in the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, I think the Bucks are the 1 seed. If the Celtics can get the 2 seed, then they wouldn't play the Bucks until the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think that's probably going to be the best matchup for the NBA, because you have Tatum, and I would also say Jaylen Brown is an interesting pick, because the fact that they have him now, and they've got him for such a long time, that he just signed an extension for another 4 years, like, that's huge for the team. Like, I think Tatum, I think he has 1 more year on his deal, but I think if they can, they'll sign him to an extension this offseason. I think if they sign him this season or next season, either way he's going to be getting the same amount, and it may just come down to another extra year onto the contract, where I think with Brown, he took the 4-year extension last year, so I think now they have him for 4 years after this year. But I'm not sure where that 5th year comes in, but that's where I think. So I think Tatum, I would say, that's who I would be picking over Zion, especially just because of the pricing. Like, Tatum has way more room to grow if you're comparing them by prices. That's what I would say. What's up, everybody? Welcome in. Am I a Chelsea fan? No, I'm a Chelsea fan because of the Champions League that they won in 2012, I believe it was, when they had Torres and Mata and Drogba, and Peter Cech was the goalie back then. That was an insane team. Such an awesome team that was. What's up, Trevor? Yeah, Chelsea. I back in FIFA. I think it was FIFA 2011 or FIFA 2012. Chelsea was the team that I used in that year's FIFA, and that was my freshman year of college. And that year we would have, like, I think there was 4 different rooms that all had FIFA, and this was back in the Xbox 360 days. There was 4 different rooms that all had FIFA, and we would just have huge, like, floor. Well, actually, we had 1 floor tournament, but then the competition that we had was always like on that floor between all the people that had FIFA. So that was a ton of fun. That was a cool memory. And the team that I always used was Chelsea, which was so that's why I like Chelsea. And I mean, also this year, the fact especially that Pulisic is there now, the American savior of soccer. The fact that he's there now is big, which I didn't even know really, because like going into this time last year is when I first really started getting back into soccer. We've got TikTok boss Z, welcome in. What's up? Yeah, so at this point last year is when I first started kind of getting back into soccer, and because someone that I work with is like a huge soccer head, and he told me about like a bunch of different players, and he was like, yeah, Pulisic just signed to Chelsea, there was like a time period where I didn't really follow soccer, like I loosely followed it, but this year I've been watching almost every single game, and I know Chelsea's playing in a little bit. I do wonder, there are some TVs in the studio here. I do wonder if I can pull, hold on, I'll be right back. I wonder if this TV here gets actual channels, or if it's just music. If it gets channels, we can turn the TV on. Let's see, it's probably on. Let's see if there's no box, I can't imagine this gets signal. Let's see. Cable. Auxiliary cord. Yeah, I don't. Set up on, man, I don't think this TV gets the game, so that's unfortunate. So, yeah, there's no. So I'm not watching the game because I'm in the studio in my apartment, and neither of the TVs have service, so there's no way to. I could pull it on my computer, but I've got other stuff going on my computer right now, so I'm not watching the game now. But depending on how long I'm in here, I may be able to catch the end of the game. Actually, I probably will I'll just pull the score up on my computer here. ESPN. What's the best like score tracker? Because that's something I'd be interested in. Because I can just go to ESPN, but if there's one that's like a better one, I'd rather watch that. The game hasn't started yet, but we'll click on the game hasn't started. Okay, that's fine. It actually doesn't start for another couple minutes, anyways. Who do I think is going to win the Champions League? I mean, Chelsea, I hope, but if not Chelsea, then PSG maybe. I think that would be kind of cool. I really like Mbappe, and I think that would be Google. I guess that I hadn't thought. Yeah, I guess that might. I hadn't thought of Google, but that might be an option there. So I am exporting my last Instagram live here. What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm exporting my last Instagram live to upload to YouTube because I have a YouTube channel, and after you're done watching this Instagram live, if you want to go subscribe to the YouTube, that would be great. I also if they get Havertz, I don't know if Chelsea's going to get Havertz or not. I feel like there's a 50-50 shot. I feel like that's where I've seen the most rumors about him going, but if Chelsea is able to get him, then that would be insane. And I mean, I think what Liverpool has essentially done is made like the Premier League is. So I hope Havertz goes to Chelsea. I mean, that's a guy that I really like, and I mean, if he goes to Chelsea, that would just be. I feel like I feel like he won't go because at this point there's so many good players at Chelsea that like there's almost no point in him even going there because like. If he goes there, like who's gonna get bumped down? Like that's the one thing that I don't know where. What's up, Adam? How we doing? Because I mean, what Liverpool did. Liverpool basically put together like a super team for the most part. So, and if Liverpool gets Mbappe, which I think that's a 50-50 shot as well. But if Havertz goes to Chelsea, then you have like. The only issue with Chelsea is that their defense then is still pretty sketchy, which I think is one of their main issues. So that would be a scenario where I look at that and I say, I mean, the defense is really what's going to hold them back, if anything does. But so, I mean, of the teams left, or I mean, I guess I would like Messi or Ronaldo to win the Champions League. I'm fine with whoever. I think it's this year is going to be a weird one, so I'm not really sure where it goes. What are your thoughts on players' first cards in their first teams? Example, Pulisic in the Chelsea uniform. You think it's a good buy, even though it's not his rookie card. So I had a post actually recently on Instagram about that where, let me see. I agree. Yes, I do like that point of the first cards. Let me go see where it is. Here it is. Because I think that's what we're going to see. Because with soccer, it's so much different than it is with the NBA. Like, the NBA, or American sports, I'd say. So that's one thing that soccer definitely has that is much different than any other sport, where, you know, the Premier League is a better league than the Bundesliga. They're both professional leagues, but like the Premier League, and I don't even know, there's not even really a way to compare American sports with soccer, because American sports, there's only one league for each sport. So, like, I mean, except for soccer, because there's like the MLS and then there's the USL, which I think if the MLS was, well, maybe not if they're smart, but I think, this is playing something. Go to Chelsea, Manchester United. I think if the MLS, one thing that they could do is buy the USL and then make it basically the Premier League in the United States, and have a relegation system. Because I think bringing that in is probably going to, I think they need to do something to revolutionize the MLS in a way if they want to grow. Which I think they would even be fine with where they're at. I don't know if they're even really, if their intention is to grow the league, then, which I think it would be because they want to make more money, which it would be tough. They are bringing in they actually acquired, the MLS they've acquired some USL teams. Like, I think Sacramento, I think they acquired that team. St. Louis, I think, is a team that the MLS bought and is now a USL team that now is an MLS team. So so I think, I don't remember where, let me go back and see. So yes, so the question was, do I think the first cards of things? I think yes, because soccer is so much different than most American sports that I think we're going to see some different trends within the market itself, where with basketball, like, yes, I think and I think the trend is also, like we saw with LeBron's first Lakers card. I think that was a trend there where more first, like you said, more first cards are going to become popular, in the sense that like first national, because also the thing with that is, like, there's national team cards, and then there's club team cards, and there's also Bundesliga cards, and there's Premier League cards. There is the Liga cards, there's Series A cards. I mean, all in all, there's so many opportunities for a player to completely change their stardom within. And I do also think it'll have to matter with the team, with the player, and how well they do too. Like, I do think like Mbappe, if he goes to Liverpool next year's, if Mbappe goes to Liverpool after this season and he has a Liverpool card in like the Premier League Prism, that card's going to be ridiculous. Like, that card is going to be almost, I bet you that card's the same price if Mbappe has a Prism Liverpool card in next year's whatever Prism product. That card's going to be the same price probably as his 2018 World Cup card. I also, or like, even if it's a Real Madrid or something, I think that's a scenario too. What underpriced graded cards should you invest in before the NBA season starts? I I think Ruri Hachimura is a player that is going to he's basically the face of the franchise now with Sabonis, I think his name is I forget the guy's name. One of the players on the Wizards is out. John Wall is still hurt. Bradley Beal opted out. The Wizards probably won't be that good. That's unfortunate, but I do think he's a player that could he could jump into that next level of cards because of the fact that he's going to be. And anytime anyone is asking me about which cards going into the bubble, he's one of the guys I've been saying because I think that's how I'm looking at cards like that. Is I'm looking at scenarios where a player can go from one tier to the next tier, and I definitely think that he has a chance to go from here to here because of the fact that he's going to be the star of that team. Now, if he plays poorly, that's obviously bad, so you need him to play good, but I do think he will. I think he will play well in the I think he'll play fine. I just think the Wizards, with these eight game seasons, I don't know how it's going to be interesting to see which teams really play well, which teams come in and don't really care. I also think Brandon Clark is another interesting pick, depending on how the Memphis Grizzlies do, because he's on the Memphis Grizzlies. I think I don't know if he has 2018 or 2019 rookies. I forget off the top of my head, but I think his cards will be interesting because if Memphis can get into the playoffs and if they can go a couple rounds, you're going to see that roster, I think, is pretty good with Jaren Jackson, you've got Ja Morant, you've got Mike Conley, you've got Brandon Clark. I think those four players themselves that's a very strong core four players right there for that team. So I think those are two names that I'm interested in. Brandon Clark is kind of one that I haven't talked about as much or that I've really even looked into that much, but Ruri is one that I have looked into a little bit. For sure, because players retire. If I don't have the money to buy rookie cards, which cards are the best to buy second year? Which cards are the best to buy second year, first set of them? Are you talking? So Martin, are you talking which sport specifically are you talking about? Is Saints Drew Brees PSA 9 a good buy? I think Drew Brees cards in general are good. So if that's I'd have to look at the comps. I don't know, but if that comp is around the pricing, I think it is, because I think Drew Brees is going to go down as one of the better quarterbacks. Obviously, he had kind of put his foot in his mouth a little bit over this past quarantine. Kind of said some stupid stuff that he probably wishes he could take back, which I don't know if that's going to hurt or it's not going to help him, but I don't know if it's going to hurt him as badly as people think. Some advice: when is the right time to sell? Started a month ago buying some NBA cards. Ruri will have the opportunity, but he isn't that good. Yeah, that's kind of the thing you're looking at. We got Hayes Francis, we got baseball cards, Pittsburgh cards, Topps rookie. Like I said, I don't know if the PSA 9 you're talking about is if the other comps. If the other comps of that card are $160, I think that's a good buy. But I think if it's $100, I wouldn't pay. I would make sure you're paying market price for whatever the card you're buying is. I wouldn't be paying more for just to get it, because that's not something I usually will. So regarding the question, basketball, no, it's all good. I just was wondering. So with basketball, hold on, let me go back really quick to see what your question was. Your question was about, for basketball, I think looking into secondary sets of a player is probably going to be the way to go. I've been trying to figure that. That's a really great question. I've been trying to actually figure that out myself. What's the next, other than the Prism card, what's the next one that's really going to be a good, which one's going to be undervalued? That's kind of where I'm looking, and I don't see. What's up, Harms? What's up? We got Rad Reaper sports cards. Welcome in. So, I think the thing with the secondary sets, I would say look into secondary sets. Look into Hoops or Optic or Select. Mosaic is one that kind of has jumped into people's radar pretty recently. But like, or insert, because this is, so here are the three. Here's the three. I put a tweet out a couple days ago, or maybe it was yesterday. I don't remember what it is. I tweet way too much. So the tweet was saying that I've been looking into which cards are going to be the best that aren't the Prism rookie cards. So, like, is it going to be inserts for Hoop or for Prism or for Optic, or is it going to be second year Prism cards, or is it going to be other? Or is it going to be other secondary sets? Or is it just even looking at a different player? Like, so that's kind of the thing where I don't necessarily know which ones are undervalued. I would say secondary sets is your best bet. Any rookie card is going to be probably the best bet. It just is going to be which level you want to go at. Because like, Prism is going to be the most important, and it's going to hold probably the most value, and it's probably going to be the most expensive. But if you're looking for secondary products, I think if you pick the correct player. So like, let's just say, I know Luka obviously is everyone's pick for the most part. It's what I'm telling people. If anyone asking me who you should be buying, it's Luka, Giannis, LeBron. Those are the three players that I think are the most surefire bets you can make that will, going forward, they're going to be three of the best players in the league probably for the next. Well, LeBron will be retiring soon, but all the rest of the players will be three of the best players in the league for the next 10 years, let's say. Luka maybe even 20 years, depending on how long he's in the league. Giannis has been in the league since 2013, so maybe he has 10 to 15 years, but either way. So, start with whatever your budget is, and then look at the player's rookie year, because I think that's when you're going to be able to find the best value for the cards themselves. So Pittsburgh, I'm going back to your original question about soccer soaring. I just think it's new people getting into the hobby, and I think it has to do with basketball being pretty expensive and soccer being like almost the least expensive sport out of all of them. Because even compared to baseball, it's even still pretty inexpensive. I do think the fact that there's been no sports, people have been the fact there's been no sports, but there has been soccer is another reason why I think that soccer cards themselves have kind of risen a little bit in price over maybe, let's say, basketball or baseball. Like, let's see. I think those are probably the main reasons. Like, Mbappe PSA 10 rookies are $500 right now, $600 I think, and that's still less than Luka, and Mbappe and Luka I think are going to be no. Hold on, let me see if I can make a good example. I think it's. I like Mbappe soccer cards, probably not just because I bought them. Like, I bought them at $40 and now they're $600. Like, but I think that if you are, if you want. He's the hottest young star right now. So I think for him, that card is going to be one of the more popular, one of the most important cards within soccer. So those are some of the reasons why I think soccer has kind of jumped up a little bit in price. Sorry, I'm going back to some other questions. I think Donruss is underrated. Yeah, like I said, I think any secondary set, I think, the way that I look at when I'm looking at underrated is I have to find pricing of multiple different players and compare it to how many PSA 10s are there, what's the difference in price between a PSA 10 Prism and then a PSA 10 Donruss. If, like, for example, like I did this one, that's why I picked Select when I was choosing Select. That's why I bought a Tatum Select card, because at the time his Prism were around $250 and his Select PSA 10s were around $75, where Luka's at the time I think were in the $500 range and the Selects were in like the $250. So there was a discrepancy there, I thought, where I thought there was even if the player's value never went up, the card itself should go up in value. In theory, the card should go up because of the percentage and difference in pricing. So, like Donruss, if the Donruss for Luka is $200 to $250 and his Prism is around it's up in the $950 range, like I look at percentage from there, and then I look at that percentage, and then I compare it to another player. And because Luka, I think, is going to be the baseline of a lot of. Luka is very similar to, I think, Ronald Acuna, where I think he's going to be the baseline for what I do a lot of my research on when it comes to pricing and stuff like that. Because I think with Luka, his pricing is going to be very indicative of what the market itself is going to look like. Do you think Panini has too many basketball products? I feel like there is a new one that drops every other week. So it's an interesting topic about if there's too many products. I think there maybe, and I say maybe because it's only one company that's dropping these products, and I think the more products they come out with, it gives other people a chance to buy cheaper cards, and that gets more people involved. So from that standpoint, I think it's a good thing. Where I do think they may get caught up will be if the popularity of cards goes down, which I don't expect it to. I don't expect the popularity of cards to ever get to the point where it's lower than where it was in the mid 2000s, because I think the way that eBay has been set up and the way that sports is going and the way that the NBA is going global and soccer is becoming more popular within the United States, I don't know. I actually think if they come out with more products, I think that's going to give more value to the larger products like Prism. But I also, I think there is a scenario where continuing to come out with more products may be not great. We got NJ Sports cards. We got Marcus. There's definitely, basketball every week. Very few of them matter investment-wise. I think Prism is always going to be probably the top product when it comes to buying from an investment standpoint, buying and then hoping to selling for profit in the future. I think Prism's always going to be the go-to. Like I said, I think I'm also from a standpoint where Panini wants to make more money. Like they don't care as much about if Panini is making the products and people are selling them and they're selling out at stores. Like for them, they're going to look at that and say, well, we are just going to continue to come out with products because we want to make more money for the company. Like they don't really necessarily care if they don't. It's not in their. The reason they keep coming out with products too is because they keep selling out of the products. So like they want to continue to sell the products in retail, online, and from stores from them, because like once it gets sold from them, it's out of their hands. Like for Prism, like you could have bought. I don't know what the sale price of Prism was from Panini. I don't know. I think it probably was like $250 if I had to guess. But like those Prism boxes this year are selling for like $800-900, maybe even more. And I'm making that number up because I actually should look into it. But the products themselves, like Panini doesn't necessarily care that they are cognizant of the fact that there's investing and that there's a market, secondary market, but they're trying to get people to buy more from them. Like that's why they're coming out with the blockchain products, and that's why they use National Treasures and Prism as their two products so far that they've come out that have actually been physical products, because they know that people want that card, and this is their opportunity to, even if, like for a lot of the National Treasures cards, they've sold for double on eBay after they get sold, but even for them, they're just like, it's better for them as a company to sell a one-of-one Zion National Treasures blockchain card for, I think it was $60,000, and then have it sell for $150 or whatever. These numbers, I forget what they were off the top of my head. Maybe the Zion was more than that, but I know the Kobe was $60, and I think that was one of the highest. I think the Zion Ja sold for $60. I forget what actually, let me just look it up. Zion National Treasures blockchain. Excuse me. Actually, Panini years. So, like, sorry, I'm looking up the Zion price really quickly because Zion. Oops. This is, yeah, okay, so the Zion sold for $60K. It's better for Panini as a company to sell that card directly than to put a card that's worth $60K into a pack that someone buys for $5K or $10K or however much they buy it for, because then the card then sells for $60K on eBay, but they don't see that they don't see the $55,000 worth of difference between the actual putting the card into the product and then what it sells for on the secondary market. So the blockchain cards are their attempt to bring in some more revenue based off of the popularity of these products themselves. What I still don't understand is why having some inserts, for example, Mosaic Prism printed on the backside. So the Mosaic, the Prism Mosaic this year was the first. It used to be called Prism Mosaic, and but I also think that when they put that on the insert, when it's like a Prism card, I think that, I'm not 100% sure why they did that, but I think, like, and if I'm thinking of when I've seen people open Mosaic and having it be a Prism, I'm thinking that's maybe them calling it like a silver instead of calling it or Prism instead of silver, whatever the scenario, I forget the details were there, but like, it just, like, the Mosaic just became a non-Prism branded product this year, if that makes sense. I don't know if that answers your question. I feel like basketball is getting super oversaturated. Panini crazy for all the new products. Prism basketball from Panini went for like $400 in the Dutch auction. Okay, so maybe that's right. So they're calling Prism as a type of parallel, basically, and I'm pretty sure that's what you meant. And I'm thinking that is what I was saying was what it is. Like, because, like, if you look at like in 2013 and 2014 and 2012, they didn't call Prism silvers at the time. They called them Prisms, which is confusing to some. Like, if you're looking for like a Neymar silver from 2014 World Cup, it's called a Prism and it's not a silver Prism, if that makes sense. Halan's pack pulled card to buy right now. Finest SP. If you mean best card for Halan, it's probably going to be his Topps Chrome Champions League card. They haven't come out with the checklist for the Topps Chrome Champions League yet, so I'm not 100% sure if he's in there. He is in the Topps Chrome Bundesliga product. I have a box set that I haven't opened yet. I want to set up a video, but I don't want to mess it up because I spent a decent amount on the box, and I don't want to mess up the video, so I have to figure out how to set everything up before I actually do the pack opening, because I want to put the pack opening on YouTube, because I'm a YouTuber now, guys. Everybody, hey, go smash that subscribe button on YouTube, because I'm a YouTuber now. I make YouTube videos. Sort of. I basically just sit in front of the camera and talk like I do now. Yeah, the Topps SP is in the Dortmund from that Finest, which I don't know what Topps is going to do with the Champions League card, because I don't know if they're going to have him in the Salzburg jersey or if they're going to have him in the Dortmund jersey, or if they're just going to do exactly what they did with this product. Like, I feel like they may that's what I'm looking for. They may do a Salzburg card in the base checklist, and then a short print for the for the Dortmund jersey, basically. I think there is a chance. I think that's what they do, but we'll definitely see, because I don't. They haven't come out with the checklist yet, so we don't know what they're going to be doing. I am trying to figure this out. What the heck is? Maybe I did it in. Did I not do it in Premiere? Maybe I did it in After Effects. What am I doing here? Got Premiere open. open up After Effects. Maybe that's why I open it After Effects. Champions League is going to be sick. I do agree. I just don't know if they're going to follow that for I don't know if they're going to follow the same type of checklist for Finest as they did with Champions League. Because I think his Bundesliga card, I'm going to look it up right now, because I think last time I checked it was still going for around $100. Let's take a little look. eBay. Topps Chrome Haaland. I would say the checklist is probably going to be very similar to the Topps Finest checklist. I don't think they're going to include Gio Reyna. I think him being in the Bundesliga product will, because I think he didn't play in any Champions League games until like later on in the year. Like, I think he played against PSG, but I don't think that gives Topps enough time unless they are going to be kind of switching the mode here and deciding that they want to put Reyna in Champions League. I just think that the checklist is going to be very similar to Topps Finest. Well, yeah, and Fati is another name that I think is going to be, I hope he's included, because he wasn't on the Topps Finest checklist. So that's kind of annoying, because that kind of makes me a little bit nervous for the Topps Champions League checklist, because like, why wouldn't he's been in other products this year, so I don't know why they wouldn't have him in Topps Chrome Champions League. I mean, I still think his Mega Cracks from 2019 is going to be the card to buy for Fati. I think Foden is another name that I hope he's in there. I mean, he has cards from 2018, Man City cards from 2018, so I do think those are probably going to be the cards to buy if you're looking for Foden.